Hi friends, we would like you to subscribe and also press the bell icon so that you will get the notifications from YouTube. Pranam Guruji, it's been a great pleasure to come back to you on behalf of Fountainhead Veda channel. I mean, after our program, I had plenty of questions. I mean, it was a very simple way of explaining, including call it Vedanta or Bhagavad Gita, the best of Hinduism, inclusiveness of the Hinduism. But still, the more of the younger generations, both men and women, or girls and boys, they were, whenever I meet in a common function or area, society meeting and all that, they had these questions. I didn't have any answer. I mean, I said, this is how my forefathers told me, this is how I got imbibed, and I didn't ask questions, I'm comfortable. But why are you guys are like this? So the first point itself, among the Hindus, the discrimination is becoming a huge conflict for them. So what they are saying is, does the Hinduism, or you call it Brahmanism, or you call it Mudayalism, or whatever the caste among the Hindus, the discrimination is very high. None of the younger generation wants to accept such discrimination. Will this discrimination will exist, or it has to go? My first question.
Thank you for having me again. A wrong practice, practiced for long, needs to be corrected, and a lot of people have taken steps in the right direction to correct it. Unfortunately, this discrimination on the basis of varna or jati has creeped deep inside the Hindu psyche, and lots of measures have been taken in social life as well as in various spiritual organizations are trying to bring back the original insight of what is jati or what is varna. Bhagavad Gita says clearly, these fourfold castes, Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam, Krishna says, I created it, but based on guna karma. He did not say based on janma. Now this point is very important. Krishna did not say, I created these four castes based on janma of a person, based on birth. He said, no, these four castes are created, four varnas are created based on guna and karma. Guna karma vibhagasha. The classification of these four are made based on guna and karma. Guna means qualities. Karma means action. Based on the guna, qualities of a person and the action he performs, that person has to be classified as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. This is the original meaning. But over a period of time, this has been taken up and somewhere it creeped inside at the body level. And then once something creeps inside into the body level, we start believing in it very deeply. A practice, we start believing in it very deeply. Like today, it is proved through different references that Aryan invasion theory is a lie. It's a myth. No Aryans came from Central Asia, they were living here. How do you prove it is wrong? Because the date which they gave is somewhere around 1500 years BC. Why do you say that? Because the colonized people, they had a problem with dates. Because their book, the Bible, said the creation is 4000 years old. When you say the creation itself is 4000 years old, anything beyond 4000 is so difficult for them to accept. So they have to call it a myth. And they believe there was a mass flood which Bhagavatam speaks about, Raja Satyavrata and Matsya story, if you see it, it speaks about a flood which happened, a great flood, which they call as Noah's Ark. The story of Noah's Ark is more beautifully described in Bhagavatam. Okay, so then therefore it has to be after 2000 years, because that time the Pralaya happened. So it has to be after 2000 years, it has to be before Christ. So they chose a date and decided 1500 years ago, from Central Asia, people came and settled down in India. Why are you saying this? Anything beautiful in Hinduism, anything which is nice is given by Aryans. We came from Central Asia, it's not you. Now this is ugly. And we have today the records and the research prove beyond doubt that this is a lie, this is a myth. And they brought this concept, this theory, what they call it, Aryan invasion theory, is a possibility which they claimed, but they inserted it in our history books.
That again created a discussion.
I am coming to that point. It came into our history books, and naturally once it came into history, we think it is real. Like Chandragupta was real, Chola was real, Lalit Aditya was real, Martanda Varma was real. These are history, real. So we believe this theory is also real because it came into history book. How clever and cunning. And if you call it a theory, why are you calling it a theory? Aryan invasion theory is in the history book. A theory is speculated. So they did it and we believed, and then the nation divided into two, Aryan and Dravidian. Till today, that division is in the deep psyche. You understand, today people down south feel we are not part of the original real race of Bharat. We were together. But this idea, Dravidian, was inserted. Now, how Aryan theory can be proved? The date is 1500 years, according to them. Saraswati river, which got dried up. Today we have evidences, archaeological evidences, oceanology evidences, or what you call hydrology, whatever. On the river, the route river has taken, the satellite images are there, everything that a river existed so many thousand years ago. And we have different dates of our scriptures talking about a civilization living there, and they were all Hindus, worshipping Shiva and Vishnu. Even during Mahabharata time, there is a reference where, not one, there are many references. One is that Balram, when the war happened, went around Tirtha Yatra on Saraswati banks. So a river existed 2000 years ago. And lot of descriptions are there about how the lifestyle was there. If you go by that thing, Hindus were living here, Vedas were here. It's not the Aryans came and they brought Veda, they brought Sanskrit, because somewhere it is established Sanskrit is a very ancient language. And most of the European languages, roots come from Sanskrit. Now for them to say it all comes to this, to Indians, is very difficult. Probably the white man supremacy, the feeling of color of the skin, the superior feeling what they had, they could not accept, and they did this and made us believe. Now a person here thinks I am Dravidian. Right. Does Tamil literature talk about Dravidian? In Tirukural, is there a word Dravidian mentioned? Or the saints who lived there earlier, their literature, or Tirumandiram, I am talking very ancient books. Is there a word Dravida there? So the word itself didn't exist. It is these guys who made it, but we believe. Same way, on once a particular thing is thrust into us, we believe in it. Same way, that like how you believe you are a Dravidian, same way on Janma, people believed. Forecasts. Someone brought it into thing with reasons to experiment or whatever, but it landed into a mess finally. It had the caste, if you talk about, how did, if according to Krishna itself, it is guna and karma, how did it become Janma? Naturally, we must have done some experiment. We must have done some experiment testing particular guna and karma. Let us say somebody is a thinker. If he gets married to a thinker, will there be a DNA effect in the child of thinking? If someone is a warrior, gets married to a woman of a warrior temperament, will the child pick up this? This is the experiment people tried. Yes, through DNA also the influence is there, so naturally it came. So when we started pairing gunas together and started having children, the result was there to see. But please remember, it can't continue forever, it has to change. Because it is not just 1, 2, you understand. If we are talking about influence of guna through DNA, we have to understand, for example, how many grandparents you have.
What we remember could be 3 generations back or 4 generations.
How many? First.
1, second, third.
Father side.
Father side.
Paternal and maternal.
Side.
4 people, 4 grandparents.
Right.
How many great grandparents?
So maybe 1 more 4, 1 more
8.
4, 1 more 4.
8?
Yeah.
Third generation?
1 more 4, 12.
16?
No,
16.
Yeah, 16.
16. Okay. Now, from third generation, if DNA we are talking about, there are 16 different types of people, guna and karma. So this experiment, though they tried, gave results, it is not foolproof. It has its own setbacks. So on a DNA also, if my DNA 3 generations if I take, I have 16 people's effect on me. You understand? Yeah. So now everybody was a thinker, may not be, you understand? So the guna cannot be. So that experiment they tried gave results. And when they found the results are not really as they expected, somebody should have stopped it. Saying this didn't work, let's understand the original, let's not forget this is based on guna and karma. People did not come back. Just like it's going to take a long time for people living here to understand Aryan theory is a myth. This Dravidian Aryan divide is not necessary.
So are you saying?
No, I'm saying it will take time. To rectify that mistake, it's going to take time to people to be convinced, because deep down it goes, and vested interest people will hold on to their idea to keep it alive. Vested interests are keeping it alive. It will take some more time for it to dilute. Luckily, if I look at life today, Varna has almost diluted. What is there is Jati today. Varna is diluted.
Yeah, very much.
Very much. You know, no more. Once upon a time, there was a divide, you know, like very clearly Brahmin, non-Brahmin. Today, it is not there. That divide is almost diluted to a large extent. Today, the problem is more with Jati, not with Varna. Different communities fight for their supremacy over the other. Okay. So it has come to this little more time. I think this will get diluted. No one would have expected that the mistake of Varnashrama based on Janma would last this long. Or people who started working few years ago to rectify it never thought it would end so quickly also. Varna effect is gone almost. Now it's only Jati. Little more time, I think Jati discrimination will also end. Why I am saying it will end is, people now are interested in the original texts, original books. If it properly explained, people want to follow that. So if we can bring the basic heritage of Bharat, which is spirituality, if that can be brought, it makes you think faster. It makes you think faster. When you start thinking, you arrive upon your own conclusions. You will not be influenced by people. Today, people are influenced left, right and center. Who knows to present their narrative cleverly? People get influenced by it. Many of them. So we really need to understand that. If a person starts thinking, then the person will not be influenced by various things. I somehow feel this younger generations, though they rebel on the Vedas because, not on the Vedas, basically on the Indian systems, is very less informed.
Correct.
So once they start growing and they get correct information, things can change. So in my opinion, new education policy probably will bring in a different outlook and make people think. Today, where are the thinkers? When you study a particular subject, how many people go do research in it?
Right.
Research.
All are job oriented, more.
People don't get into research. Now, research is thinking, producing. We need to have variety of people. It's only one kind. So when the education policies change and the education actually makes somebody think. We read poetry. We don't appreciate poems. We don't become a poet. You understand? We read. Very few people become. So if I read poetry from 1st standard to 10th standard, every year there is, in my English class or something, there is poetry, or in my language class there is poetry. End of it, at least I should start writing poetry. Na? I'm not saying I should be a full-time poet, but 10 years studying poetry in school, I should have to be a poet. That is not happening. You are reading a poem, you are mugging a poem, you write some answers, you become. Now that is no use. The poetry should kindle thinking. The poetry should kindle your intellect. New education, probably the policy which is there can bring in, like I was extremely happy when I saw that Chanakya and Bhagavad Gita will be introduced to army. Will be introduced to army. Because Chanakya was a strategist. He could raise an army with nothing. And being a strategist, it is important for army to understand that. And Krishna and Arjuna were soldiers.
Right.
How a soldier's mind should be is this book. And through that we learn how to live. So very important. So now a treasure you have in the country, now people are thinking it should come into army. Now that will make a difference, isn't it? Like Gita has now come into management. Leading institutes in the world are looking at Gita as a management also, as a book of management, manual for living. It's coming. So it took a long time to come. So in my opinion, when the original texts, people have access to it, read it for themselves, their mind will change, they will become thinkers. And when they become thinkers, they will certainly follow what is said there. This rejection today is, you are rejecting something without knowing what it is, or you are rejecting something without verifying what it is based on some other narrative.
So what is the answer for them? If you are saying the future will change, but what is going to happen to these guys? The future may change. So where is the teacher to tell them?
The past was miserable, but still we had few things.
Right.
And we have changed the present.
Okay.
Varna Ashrama, when I said, has changed so
Still,
much.
I just want to
please understand, is it the same intensity of what it was, the ill effects?
See, I would say like still that dvesham on Brahmins still exist. They unnecessarily they think Brahmin means somebody high pedestal fellow. He is unnecessarily thinking we should bring him down. That dvesham is still continue.
No, see, you have to understand.
For what reason? Brahmins have become minority to the core.
Yeah.
Below minority.
Yeah, now we are talking about survival. You understand?
Right.
Yeah. At one point of time, what was the lifestyle?
Okay.
At one point of time, if there was a great thinker, Brahmin means a thinker.
Yeah, sure.
A great thinker. His son necessarily should be a thinker?
Right.
Not necessary. Guna and karma can be different.
Different, right. But somehow...
But he had the benefits of a thinker.
Right.
Enjoyed the benefits
whether
of a thinker.
Whether he was an equal thinker or not.
He enjoyed the status
right. That's precisely.
of a thinker. That is exploitation or not?
Okay. Yeah, did exploitation take place?
That is exploitation. Now there is a price for that exploitation.
Okay.
You understand? Now things have changed. That's why I said at one point of time that hatred was there, because people felt this person is not like his father. His father was a genuine thinker.
Okay.
This person is just taking advantage of his father's position. By his guna and karma, he is not a thinker, but enjoys the status. Now naturally this disparity will create aversion. It created few hundred years ago, it created. That's what I meant. It came and it diluted. Today that
intensity may not be.
Very, very less. That is progress. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You understand what you're asking, what will happen in the present. I'm saying in the past work only has brought the intensity diluted to the present. Varna hatred is almost gone today. Today, no, you have to understand.
Yeah.
You can't talk only Varna hatred is there.
No, Varna hatred.
Today what is there is Jati hatred is there.
Okay, I understood that. I am totally agreeing to that. But what happens is that why this current thinking in Tamil Nadu or few other places, Jati or Guna, the priest issue has come up. They said the priests were earlier Brahmins or Shivacharya, but other than any Hindu can become a priest if they are given training. So they wanted to put down that discrimination. That is one. The second thing is the parents of the youth, whether it's a Hindu or a Brahmin Hindu or any other caste Hindu, all of them worried about the youngsters. They don't want to listen to any of the scriptures or the practices or Abhishekam, temple visits, everything they think, because you say, I'll just come and pray and go, but we are not part of it. So there is a huge conflict between the parents and the children, and that is also existing.
Now first we'll take one question one by one.
Yeah, sure.
Don't club two questions because they're separate.
Sure.
You're talking about people who are not from the Brahmin community becoming priests.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Let's define who's a Brahmin.
Okay. I mean, we were thinking
If
of
you go
Brahmin, by Brahmin.
By blood, by birth you're talking about.
Yeah.
Brahma janati iti brahmana. One who knows Brahman, the truth, the reality, is a Brahmin. How many fall in that category?
Not many.
Okay. Now if you're not falling in that category, a Nandanar who comes from some other community,
Right.
or Raidas, who was a cobbler who became, is he qualified to do puja or not? Better than somebody who is born in a Brahmin family doesn't have those qualities.
Right.
In guna and karma, somebody, see, I'm not saying all priests don't have those qualities. You understand? Not all Brahmins are thinkers.
Right.
But all thinkers are Brahmins.
Okay, I understand.
Let this settle in. All who are born in a Brahmin community may not be thinkers.
Correct.
But anyone anywhere in the world who is thinking, we have to look at that person as a Brahmin, because that is the thinking class.
Right.
Albert Einstein is a Brahmin.
Right.
Okay. So when we go into that kind, somebody born in another community, if he is well trained to do it, if he is well trained to do certain rituals, puja, proper training is given, then that person should be allowed to do.
Right.
Now the only point here, the only point which we need to do is, when a temple pratishtha happened, you and I didn't build the temple. Somebody built a temple. Okay. When they built the temple, they have written how a temple should be maintained, how it should be kept, what kind of pujas have to be done, who has to do puja, etc. Based on that, we should choose. Okay. So if that discrimination, I mean a description, not discrimination, that description says only a person born in a Brahmin community is allowed to do puja in this temple, then that person who built the temple, we should respect his wish. If the new people who are trained, and there is nothing wrong because you have trained them, now this person is also able to perform, he has come to that point of training, then the temples which are coming, new temples, or in those temples where these rules don't apply, these people should be immediately given opportunity.
Right.
And once he starts performing and conducting, he may perform really best.
Really best.
If a Raidas is going to pray, or a Nandanar is going to pray, or Atipatha Nayanar is going to do puja, or Kannappan. Brilliant people they are. So there is no difference there. You understand? So when do you call somebody a Brahmin? When you give him an Upanayana.
Right. That's also
Okay.
right.
When you give him an Upanayana. What is Upanayana? What does the word Upanayana mean? What does it mean? You are initiated
Okay.
into what? Into higher thinking, Brahma Vidya. Upanayana, you are initiated into Brahma Vidya. So anybody who is initiated into Brahma Vidya from any background are now eligible to wear Upanayana.
Right.
Are eligible to wear a sacred thread. Whether you wear it or not, you are initiated.
Right. That was a symbolic probably initiation.
So when you are initiated, you come into that. Now if we say only Brahmins
Brahmin
have to
can
be
be.
initiated, now if this rigidity still continues, the Brahmin community has dissolved
Correct.
to minorities into very few percentage.
Right.
It will dissolve further
Okay.
because that is wrong. Adi Shankara, if you take, he clearly says people from any background has a right to God.
Right.
Very clearly. In his books, if you see Upadesa Sahasri and all that, who has a right? People from any background has a right to God. And even that Manisha Panchakam incident of Shankara, if you see, this is where Shankara's glory is seen. The Chandala was walking in front of him, and Shankara said, Gacha, Gacha, move away, move away. The Chandala asked him, Annamayat, Annamayam, Chaitanyameva Chaitanyat, Kim Bruhi Gacha Gacheti. What he meant is, Hey Dvijavara, twice born, O Brahmin, please tell me, Annamayat, Annamayam, this body of mine is made of Annam. Your body is made of Annam, matter. You want matter to move from matter? Or Chaitanyameva Chaitanyat. The spirit which is there in me, the Chaitanya, is the same Chaitanya which is everywhere. You want Chaitanyameva Chaitanya, Chaitanya to move. Kim Bruhi Gachagathyati. What did you ask to move? Please tell me, hey Dvijavara. Now this is a question he posted back to Shankara. Now Shankara is absolutely sporting. He looked at him and he said, whoever the person be, who has this clarity, is my Guru. Is my Guru. Not just this person, anywhere in the world, anybody who has this clarity, he is my Guru. Iti Esha Manisha Mama. Manisha means conviction. This is my firm conviction that whoever he be, from any background, who knows this so clearly, he is my teacher. Now, somebody from this status has come. Now, that person is not fit for rituals in a temple. In Guna and Karma, if you qualify, he should be allowed. Only thing is, we should respect the wish of the people who built the temple. You must go back to their traditional thing, what they insisted. Okay, if a person has built a temple and say, I want only men as a priest here for various reasons. Now that guy built the temple and the temple has served the community this long. Lot of people went there, found solace. Now it has fulfilled its purpose. We should not harm that guy's thought that only men should be a priest. But if someone builds a temple saying, be it man or woman, from any background, if they qualify, they can be my priest, then that should be respected.
Right.
So, people from any background becoming a priest should be allowed, provided they qualify.
Right.
Okay. And this can be done more harmoniously, little more large-heartedly. Those who have qualified, some of the top temple priests can take them along and say,
retrain
I'll
them.
empower you. Then you are all inclusive. This has to come because based on guna karma, that person has a qualification. Just because of birth, no person has a qualification. Because by birth, everybody is Shudra. Janmana jayate Shudraha. By birth, all of us are Shudras. the path we choose, based on the actions we perform, we can be classified as Vaishya, as Kshatriya, or as a Brahmin. So now a person who is well trained has this. Now, so let's get this phrase clear. All people born in a Brahmin community need not be thinkers. But a thinker born anywhere has to be considered Brahmin. If this clarity, I'm sure the younger generation will get this very quickly. Then their conflict in them will not be there. The conflict comes because of a confused people who are rigid with their opinions. That's where this confusion is. So we need to really understand this part. Then the issue to a very large extent can be sorted out. So definitely the new temples which have come, for different reasons we said women should not be a priest. But there are temples only women are allowed.
I was come on the other subject. Okay.
So they can, you understand. So we should really understand this. And one more basic, let's go back. Is this instruction, is it part of Shruti of the Vedas or Smriti of the Vedas?
Explain, yeah.
Two levels, Shruti and Smriti. Is Shruti saying this or a Smriti saying this? Who should do, how a temple should be? It is Smriti. We can change. Smriti is time bound. Shruti is eternal. So at that time, what the wise people decide, that can be implemented. Okay. That's how Hinduism doesn't have a single founder. That's why we have survived all the while. Because it is always decided by collective thinking. The wise people agree, just like science. A group of scientists decides this is correct, then we accept it. Similarly, the wise people say, let's be done with this, let's start something new. They do. Now Narayan Guru came in Kerala. Started, he said one particular community is not allowed into the temples. He said, I'll build temples where all can come. These people will have the first right. He built a temple. Now in that temple, suppose reverse now, let us say, we say only one community will be allowed. That's wrong, right? So he has built a temple that and the priest can be anybody. You just go, do and live. So Smriti level changes will be made, recommended by the wise people of that time. This knowledge, Vedantic knowledge, should not be taught in English. Was an old conviction. World changed. Does it really matter a language? Language could be incompetent.
Right.
This language could be incompetent. It can create more confusion in understanding Vedanta than Sanskrit, let us say. Therefore, somebody would have said, but I hold on that it should not be taught in English is a absolute absurd rigidity. Has language got to do anything with God? With God realization? That I know this language, then only I qualify. We don't. Now these are rigidity. Now with color, race and the color, what people have. From standpoint of God, is color making any sense? But people had this rigidity. Very strong color discrimination. Well, now you saw the entire thing which happened 1-2 years ago. Black life matters. Every life matters. What black life alone matters? But blacks were neglected, condemned, treated as slaves. Discrimination happened. Apathy happened.
Right.
And that they are still, those wounds are not over. No? The wounds are still there. Of the hurt of being discriminated. Like if you understand, when was South Africa allowed to play cricket again in the international area?
Maybe about 25 years back.
1990.
Yeah.
30 years.
30 years.
Is it 30 years in history? Is it a time? Too minuscule. You understand? Now in this modern world, till 1990, South Africa had the discrimination, we will not allow blacks.
Right.
They said no. And the rest of the communities, world cricket boards decided, if you have this racist feeling, we will not play with you. And there were great players like Barry Richards. And all, we've never seen him. Because he was caught in this time. And 30 years ago they changed. Is 30 years a time? It is too minuscule. You mean to say for the long hurt, these 30 years all the wounds would be healed?
Right, I understand.
So you have to have that patience. Because some of the wounds are very deep. It will heal. So what we need to make them understand, like how we treat the British today. They hurt us badly. But how do we treat them today? Saying, yeah, you made a mistake. Now, okay, we'll play cricket together. For what you have done to my nation, I should not even look at you. Today, you see a Britisher, we still say, let's shake hands, it's okay. We have accepted that guy because this chap is not responsible for my forefathers suffering. So we understand saying it is not your fault, leave it. Therefore we accept. Similar acceptance will come. Only on these bases I said Varna is almost gone.
Hi friends, we would like you to subscribe and also press the bell icon so that you will get the notifications from YouTube.